Hey, what's going on, y'all? I promised y'all a little video to kind of show you how to build a little mic booth, something like that, that'll work with the cell phones that we're working with. And so I'm going to show you what I'm doing and essentially how I built it and whatnot. All right, so essentially what I got is, well, this is just a cardboard box. I picked it up at the Goodwill for $1.99. But like my mic booth is made out of cardboard, right? And I know mine has foam, but these should work. The Egg Cartons, which forms a very similar type of shape, and sometimes these come in cones like the Egg Cartons. That should work, but what I was trying to show you is that it's the box, right? And this has a little bit of stuff that's going to dampen. But I've got some Egg Cartons, I've got a box, and then here, this is just a little piece of something I found outside that's going to support the phone once the box is put together. So again, here, sort of what I'm looking at is I'm going to want to cut these to fit. You see the little cut mark in there? I'm sizing it up with the box that I'm working with there so that I can fit that in the back. Now this right in here, you're going to want to cut slowly so you don't dent the box too much, but just kind of work the knife in and work it through, or a pair of scissors or whatnot. A pair of scissors might even be better, but to keep the actual shape that it is already there. Now the pieces that you cut off to make it fit whatever size box you have, and it doesn't need to be too big, you want to save them because you're going to reuse them. So try to cut whole cones out. It'll all fit together. The whole thing doesn't need to be covered, just enough to sort of dampen the sound that's around the phone. The easiest thing to probably use to hold everything in place is going to be tacks. Yeah, they'll just poke through, and then the parts that are going to stick through the wall, we'll figure out something to cover it up with, like a piece of cardboard or something like that, so that it, you know, doesn't scratch you or, you know, stab you later. So when you get a piece tacked on, you know, it's going to look like this. The needle does protrude a little bit on the outside, so we'll cover that up. But essentially that's what it's going to look like. I'll show you more. So see, it's in the inside of the box there, and that's what it's going to look like hemmed up. Alright, so the next thing I did was, because I wanted to sit on there flush, is that the Egg Cartons that I have on the inside, they've got these little chunks here. And what I've done is I've cut them down to a level where the tack will hold it onto the wall. So you see, once I cut these little tips off and whatnot, then that next panel slides right in and fits right in. Tacked it up, and so I have a couple more pins that are poking through, and it's holding in place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that exact same process for the back wall with the side wall. So I'll put this in, I'll measure it. This time I'm cutting off 2 cups. A very careful dissection, right? And the cones are still intact. I just kind of cut through it. And again, what I'm going to want to do is cut the little chunks off right here, make it flush so that it will stick to this wall. So here's the next phase, and I've got a bunch of them tacked up onto all the walls. And I can't show you because obviously I'm filming on my phone, but the phone would end up sitting essentially like right there, and you set the phone in there, and then you'd be able to see it and record through it right there. And all of this is going to block down sound from outside and trap your vocals on the inside of this. And we were talking earlier about, you know, the little safety pins sticking out, and I had you save all of this junk. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick them onto here to cover up the pieces that are sticking out, and I'll show you that when I'm done. So as you can see, this is essentially what it's going to look like. and all of a sudden I have no more pokey sticking out. And I'll figure out something to do to cover these up to hold them in place, like a little piece of tape or something like that. Shouldn't be too bad. Alright, so now I've got all this tacked up. I'm gonna do something to hold it all into place. Alright, so it's still all sitting in there. I'm probably just gonna grab some tape and wrap it over it so I can hold them down. I'll show you guys what I'm doing. Now, it doesn't need to be anything too fancy, just something that'll stick, like some Scotch tape or some clear tape, you know, what have you. So I told you I was gonna wrap it up with some tape. Now, you're gonna look at this and you're gonna see a lot of tape on this box, and it's gonna look like crap for right now. But what that's gonna do is hold all of those pieces in place so that you don't get stuck with any thumbtacks on the outside. And what I'm going to do on this box is I'm actually going to wrap it up, which is going to help with a piece of cloth or a towel or something of that nature. You can do whatever you like. And what that's going to do is going to, one, hold everything in place so that the tape doesn't get ripped off, and two, it's also going to help dampen down the external sound from what's happening outside of the box, which will get rid of a lot of the echo that you get from recording on your phone. Alright, and I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. Alright, so I've got the box wrapped, and you know, minor change of plans. I didn't have enough cloth to wrap this thing up with, and so what I did was I just looked around and you know, found some garbage bubble wrap that was just hanging out in case I ever wanted to use it. And I wrapped it up, and I'm going to explain to you essentially what all of this is doing, and I'll draw some images and show you how sound waves are moving and whatnot. And I threw this little bit of extra just simply because I really don't believe in waste, and it's also going to help. But yeah, all right. So the last step after wrapping it was I enclosed the entire thing in another box that I had to cut and put into shape. And then I locked the bottom, you know, bin into place, and it holds a phone. So the last piece is to test it out and see how well it sounds. So, as I promised you, I would tell you guys what's happening with the box and why it's going to work. Even if it, you know, is not the same as this, you know, with the foam, or being inside of like whatever, a major studio with thousands and thousands of dollars of expense. So let's say you have your MC over here, and your MC is speaking, and as they speak, what's going to happen is sound waves are going to move, and you know, it's just like water waves essentially, and it's doing like that throughout a room. And anytime you put something in its way, what happens is the sound gets broken right there, and you end up with a broken sound. And let's say we put more things in the way of that sound. That initial particular wave continues to be broken down, smaller and smaller, so that only a little bit will make it, forgive my writing, but this is supposed to be kind of like a big old microphone. And so then only so much gets to it. So that's the idea behind a sound wave. Let me flip this around. Now, the same idea of what was going on the other side of the page, right? Now, picture all of these sound waves moving through a room. And the person doing the speaking is here, right? And they're speaking out, and they're in a, it's hard to do this with only one hand while one hand is holding a phone. Okay, so our person is in a room, and this person is going to speak. And when they speak, those sounds are going to fill in the room. I've got to do this twice. Hold on. All right, so these are the sound waves as they move out, right? But then also what's going to happen, and this is what reverb is that those sound waves are then going to bounce back off of those walls. So that if these black lines coming out from the person speaking or the thing making the sound, and it comes out and hits these walls, then all of these yellow lines are the reverberation of those sounds off of those walls. All of that goes into the microphone, and it causes this sort of feedback echoing effect. And that's going to continue happening until the energy of the initial sound breaks down. So the first thing that this box is going to do is it's going to catch the sound before it goes out to reverberate back into the microphone. It's also going to block the sound from coming back in to reverb into your microphone. Like this. So if these little squiggly lines are your sound waves that are going out, you can see that the sound is being broken down and caught by the box, and so there's not as much leaving and filling up the entire space as what is happening without something to stop the sound. So that when the sound in the room, when the sound fills the room and it bounces back off of the walls, and that's what I'm representing here with these yellow lines, they come back and they also miss the box, and so you get rid of the vast majority of the echo that you'll pick up from just recording from your microphone or your phone all by itself. Now, this shape should look very similar to what we just built, which is something like this. And what I'm going to try to do is show you what the sound will do as it enters into that. All right, that probably actually looks a lot more like what we've got going on in there, because you've also got the back wall, right? So just like what happened inside of the room, inside of the box that we built, the sound is going to come inside, and these pieces that are shaped and they're coned are going to break down the sound a little bit more so that it knocks down the reverb happening inside of the box as well. Marked out by the yellow lines is the sound, and I may not have it represented exactly as the way that's happening, but then you have this reverb coming back out. So not only is the box blocking the sound that's getting caught by the rest of the room from getting into the box, but what's happening inside of the box is also breaking down the sound as it enters into the microphone of whatever phone or microphone that you're using. It's all the same technology, and the microphones in your phone are great now. Oh, should probably flip that up on its side. So what we've got left right now is so we built the box, we made the sound, and all that's left is for y'all to hear the difference between me recording it outside of the box and me recording it inside of the box. So bear with me, because it's probably going to be a black screen or something like that while you're listening to it. But then, you know, you're off and running. You can build it on your own. All right. Peace. Renaissance. I am now testing the recording of the phone outside of the box. I am now testing the sound of the recording. And now you have a mic booth for your phone recorder.